Hello everybody, my name is Peter, and today I'm going to show you guys how to solo King Black Dragon. To solo him and make profit a bunch of times, I would suggest 90 plus melee stats. If you're duoing him, you can do it with 85 plus, and if you're on task, you can probably do it with just over 80. Um, but you won't make as much money as you would killing him off task with 90 plus, so that's what I would suggest doing. As for the gear, if you're on task like I mentioned, I would strongly suggest Slayer Helm, because it's obviously the best helm if you're on task. If not, you can use Helm of Nita's Knot, because it gives both melee strength bonus and a prayer bonus, both of which are very helpful. And your defense stats don't matter against KBD, but we'll get into that when I get there. If you don't have a Helm of Nita's Knot, you can use Proselyte Helm, which actually gives one more prayer than Nita's Knot, but it doesn't give you the strength bonus, so I prefer Helm of Nita's Knot. For your amulet, I would suggest bringing Glory and Barrow's Gloves. Alternatively, you can bring Fury and Rune Gloves, or you can bring Fury and Barrow's Gloves. The reason I would not suggest bringing both Fury and Barrow's Gloves is, as you see here, if you have both Fury and Barrow's Gloves, they will protect over your Fire Cape. Which a lot of people will not want to risk their Fire Cape, because Glory, as you see, it just gives 2 less strength than Fury. So it's not a huge difference. It also gives a bit less prayer, but again, not very significant. For your weapon, you're definitely going to need Zamorak and Hasta. If you do it with a whip, you're not going to make any profit, so I would not suggest bringing anything short of Zamorak and Hasta. For cape, Fire Cape is obviously the best melee cape. If you can't bring Fire Cape, the only other cape that would even help would be a God Cloak from Medium Clue Scrolls, or a trimmed Cape of Accomplishment, because they both give prayer bonus, and as I mentioned before, your defense stats don't matter, so anything else, Obsidian Cape, Legends Cape, any other cape like that, will not help you at all. Shield, Dragonfire Shield, you have it. If you don't, Anti-Fire Shield works fine. The only difference when killing KBD is you won't get the +7 strength bonus from Dragonfire Shield, but other than that, they're basically interchangeable. Armor, Proselyte is easily the best armor, unless you want to go in, say, Bandos and risk significantly more than I will be. Bandos will let you kill it a little bit faster, but you'll lose out on the prayer bonus, which is significant. Proselyte top and bottom gives +14 prayer bonus. Initiate and Monk give +11, so if you can't use Proselyte, they're a good substitute. The 3 prayer bonus is not a lot. The way prayer bonus works is each point lets your prayer last about 3 1/3% longer, so you'll get 10% more prayer with Proselyte than you will with Monk and Initiate, but if you haven't done Slug Menace, you can't use Proselyte. And if you haven't done Wanted or Recruitment Drive, I forget which one, you can't use Initiate. Boots, definitely Dragon Boots. Bandos Boots won't help, and basically, like, your defensive stats don't matter, as I've mentioned a couple times now. So, pretty much any boots other than Rune and maybe Climbing Boots, or other than Dragon and Climbing Boots, aren't really helpful. And Ring, you can bring a Berserker Ring if you want to kill it faster, but there's not, like, I don't want to risk it, because if you bring a Berserker Ring, you're obviously risking an extra 3 mil, and if it's imbued, you're risking it even more. Ring of Wealth imbued, even though KBD's lair is in the wilderness, it does not count as being in the wilderness for Ring of Wealth imbued, because you can't be PK'd there, so you don't get the double clue chance drop. So, I mean, you could bring this if you want more Uncut Sapphires, but there's a spawn of Uncut Sapphires in his lair anyways, so it's not really helpful. And I think that's pretty much everything to do with gear, so now I'll talk about the inventory after I think of this. So you're going to want Pure Set. Again, you don't need Super Defense. You do need Anti-Poison or Super Anti-Poison, because he does have a chance of poisoning you. Depending on how many kills you're doing, you can probably get away with regular Anti-Poison, but I bring Super just to be safe. Extended Anti-Fire or regular Anti-Fire. The only difference is extended lasts twice as long. So if you're going for longer trips, you're going to want extended. If not, that's okay. You're going to want a house tab or some other way of teleporting out. If you have a charged glory, you can use that. I don't, so I just use a house tab, but if you have a charged glory, that works fine. If I had a looting bag, I would bring it, but I got PK'd at Lava Dragons earlier. I will show you guys how to use a looting bag at KBD, because similar to Ring of Wealth, it doesn't actually work in his lair, because you can't get PK'd there. and a couple prayer potions. You're gonna figure out what works best for you when you're doing it yourself. How many prayer pots and sharks you need. I bring 3, and the rest of my inventory is sharks. And this axe is because I get there using the canoe. You can get there using wilderness obelisks, but that can potentially take a lot longer. You can also get there using ancient magic, Garrock teleport, I believe it is, which will bring you a little bit south of his lair. I don't do that because I don't have 96 magic. And you can also just run there. If you're going to run there, which is what I did before I had the wood cutting for this, because I've been killing KBD for a while, I would suggest while you're in the bank, just drink a dose of stamina potion, because it will allow you to run all the way there without running out of run at all, which will let you get there a lot quicker. And also, if you get PK'd, you won't have to resort to walking away from them. So the wilderness canoe takes you pretty close to his lair, as you can see right up. Where is it? There it is. That's the wilderness obelisk that you would be trying to get if you were taking the wilderness obelisks. But again, I just take the canoe because you get to pretty much the same spot anyways, and it's more consistent. While you're on your way there, you'll occasionally see white dots up there, either killing green dragons or just standing there. If you see that, I would suggest hopping worlds, because they're very likely a scout for people that will be trying to ambush you on your way into KBD Lair, which I'm going to touch on now, because as you can see, you run out of run energy right about now, which is perfectly fine, because when you get to KBD, you're going to want to walk around here and have your logout screen up, because a lot of the time there will be people, there's a big hill up there, and you'll see a white dot, and I've been PK'd a couple times on my way to KBD, because they'll come out and kill you pretty quick. If it's just one person and they're on Ancients, all you need to do is walk over here. Also, before you go into his lair, pop your anti-fire. If you're not tele-blocked, you can pull this lever, which will get you into the KBD lair where you can't get PK'd. If you're tele-blocked, you can't pull that lever. So if they're on Ancients, they can't tele-block you, and it's significantly easier to get away. You just pull the lever and you're safe in here. But if you're not on Ancients, or if there's multiple people and some of them are on Ancients and some of them aren't, you will most likely die, or else you'll have to slowly walk, because you'll be out of run energy by that point, so you'll have to walk away. So I would just suggest having your logout screen open and logging out as quick as possible. So then when you get to KBD, you're going to want to pop your pure set. You're going to want to have Protect from Melee on, which is why your defensive stats don't matter. His max hit with melee is about 26. His max hit when you have DFS on or anti-fire shield on is 10 if you have the anti-fire potion on, because you'll see when he shoots that regular orangish red dragon fire, it has a max hit of 0 if you have the potion and shield on. But these other colors, like you'll see blue, you'll see green, and you'll see white. So the white one has a chance of freezing you, the green one has a chance of poisoning you, and the blue one has a chance of lowering all your stats. And that's why those are the only ones that will still hit you. They have a max hit of 10 when you have an anti-fire shield on, and the extended anti-fire potion does not help against them. Protect from mage, protect from range also don't help. You'll see there I'm poisoned, so I'm just going to drink the anti-poison. Those don't help at all, and even if they did, you'd want to leave your Protect from Melee on, because his melee attack does a lot more damage. And the armor you're wearing is not very good against melee, so there's a good chance it's going to hit you. So that kill, I actually took quite a bit of damage, but as you can see, it's not a huge deal. You can risk pretty well, because his max hit is only 10. And then when you kill him, you get your items. So as you can see here, I don't have enough space to bank the last D-hide, so if I had a looting bag, what you can do is just run down here, pull the lever, and you'll be out with those spiders. And that does count as the wilderness, so when you're out there, you can use your looting bag, bank the stuff, and then you can come back in. I'm just going to equip these arrows so they take up one less slot, and pick up the D-hide. The only projectiles that he drops are rune bolts and iron arrows. So if he drops them, you can usually just equip them unless he drops both of them to save an inventory slot. While you're killing him, you're going to want to try to flick Piety to conserve as much prayer points as you can. If you don't have Piety and you're like flicking Chivalry, that works too. If you don't have either, you could flick Protect from Melee, but your kills will be a lot slower. So I shouldn't have mentioned that before. I would suggest at least 60 prayer. I was doing this on task with 60 prayer, and it was going okay. I usually will not come here anymore unless I'm on task or I'm duoing it, because it is decent money, which I will touch on at the end of the video, but it's not as much money as I would make pretty much doing anything else. I'm also just coming here to make this guide, obviously. I did kill him quite a bit. That's how I got this pet. I didn't bring up my boss log when I was in bank. I've killed... Actually, I can check here. I've killed... Oh gosh. 1,183 now. It took almost 1,000 for me to get the pet, and I was gonna quit at 1,000 if I didn't get the pet, so luckily I got it just in time. So I did kill him quite a bit. It wasn't on task, it was just because I really wanted the pet, and I wanted to see if he was decent money. I averaged about 20k per kill after I was tracking. So his max hit is 10, but I forgot to mention you will get Ring of Life out if your health goes below 10% of your max health, which for me is if my health goes below 10, I get Ring of Life out. So you want to stay above 20 health, because otherwise he can hit you for 10, you'll get Ring of Life out even though you have plenty of supplies left, and that can be a bummer. I have Protect Item on. Oh, I'm going to get smited actually because I'm too busy talking. I have Protect Item on because even though there's a low chance of him killing me, the servers have not been the best recently, so there is a chance that you might disconnect and run out of prayer like I almost just did. If that happens and you don't have Protect Item on, I believe with this setup you risk your Fire Cape. Yeah, you risk your Fire Cape. You keep your Hasta and DFS, so that's good, but you do lose the Fire Cape, which, if you haven't watched my last video, which is a guide on how to get Fire Capes, you might have difficulty getting it back. So you should keep Protect from Item on just in case. It doesn't drain that much prayer anyways, so you don't lose too much. And Fire Capes are not fun to lose. Back when I only had one, if I lost it, it was... Well, when I lost it, it was pretty annoying. So it's just a good thing to do. You're going to want to keep an eye on your stats. I've gotten lucky. He hasn't actually... You'll see in the chat, stuff will come up like you've been poisoned. It'll say you've been frozen, or it'll say you're shocked and weakened, or something like that. That means that he's lowered your stats. Frozen means you're frozen for a couple seconds, similarly if you're hit with Ancient Magics or those really annoying bosses from Desert Treasure and Recipe for Disaster. You won't be able to attack or move. You can still eat, so if I'm in the middle of a fight and he freezes me, I usually just eat up to full health and pop my prayer pots and stuff, rather than losing ticks while I can actually attack him. It's not a huge deal, but when he lowers your stats, you only lose like 2 to 3 attack and strength. But if he does it multiple times, it can add up. So you want to keep an eye on your stats, make sure that they don't fall too low, or else you'll notice that you're killing him really slow. If you don't have pure sets, and for some reason you're coming here and you don't want to bring regular super attack and strength potions, you at least need to bring restore potions, because after a couple kills, your stats will be pretty low, unless you get really lucky like I have, where he hasn't done anything but poison me once. He is hitting me pretty hard, but that's okay. So the reason you need your Hasta is, like most dragons, he's weak to stab. If you come here with a whip... so there you go. It says that you're shocked and weakened, which means that my stats just went down a bit, but I'm not going to bother potting up because there's... Oh, jeez. Talking too much and not watching my prayer, but that's okay, because he's dead anyways. And nothing. So occasionally he will drop nothing. That's when you roll on the rare drop table, and then on the rare drop table you roll a nothing. So maybe I should have brought a Ring of Wealth and could have got an extra uncut sapphire, but that's okay, because under my dragon here there's an uncut sapphire. So if I wanted one I could get one, but I don't, so I won't. That's pretty much all there is to it, to be honest. There's not a whole lot else to mention. I will talk about his drops at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. I think I'll just fast forward through the next couple kills so you guys can see how many kills I get. I usually get 5 or 6, so hopefully we can get at least that many. Occasionally he'll drop sharks and you can get a few more. That doesn't happen very often though, so I'll probably have to tab out after. I'm going to guess 6 because I've been getting pretty lucky so far. So I will talk to you guys at the end of the video. Oh, something else I didn't mention before. When you're waiting for KBD to spawn, you should stand right on top of his spawn if you're soloing it. That's because if you don't use OS Buddy like me or any other third-party program, you don't have the exact time that he's going to spawn. So if you stand on top of him, he'll move around a bit before he finally gets around to attacking you, so you'll have plenty of time to get your prayers on, and that way you won't be taken by surprise. Because if you stand, like, say, right beside where he spawns, he might immediately spawn and hit you for a 20, which would not be good. So it helps a little bit if you don't have boss timers on. You can be safe and not have to worry about getting hit immediately when he spawns. Alright, so final part of the video, on to the drops. There's 100% drops, Dragon Bones, and 2 Black D'Hide. Dragon Bones are 1500 to 1700, but they're a lot more sellers than buyers, so you might find difficulty selling those. You can always keep them to train your prayer, because you're going to want to level out eventually, unless you're already 70 or perhaps 99 if you want max combat. Black Dragon Hide is about 2.6 to 2.8. If you get it in bulk, you can usually sell it for higher, because you'll notice that there are a lot of people buying and not very many selling, because not a lot of people farm Black Dragons, so you can get quite a lot from KBD though, because he does drop too. So his 100% drops put together, it's about 7k if you manage to bring a looting bag and bank all this. I didn't, because I lose my looting bag whenever I go to lavas, so if you can bank all this, you get minimum 7k per kill, but that's not always going to be the case. Rune Longsword's a 19k alch, Adamant Plate Body's a 10k alch, Adamant Kite Shield a 3.5k alch. You can bring alchs with you, like Nature Runes and Fire Runes, but you might get a couple adamant plate bodies. That's what I seem to get a lot of, but I mean, it's not like there's no real point, because you're not going to save that much space bringing the alch runes as opposed to just banking these and then alching them later. Dragon Madam's a 60k alch. It's 1 in 128, but you also need it for an elite clue on the the fishing platform from Sea Slug. So if you have that quest done or plan on getting it done, and you have elites, or you do elites once in a while, you might want to keep this, because otherwise you'll wind up allocating / selling it and then buying one later. Dragon Pickaxe is 1 in 1500 drop, and it's 1.5 mil. Fire Runes and Air Runes, you get a lot of them, but they're only like 5 GP each, so they're worse than Black D'Hide. They're arguably worse than Dragon Bones, so unless you have free space, I would not even suggest picking those up. Blood Runes are like 280 to 300, I think, so that's about a 9k drop. Iron Arrows are not that good, but they sell for 12 to 15 GP each, and since you get a lot of them, it's actually about a 10k drop. Law Runes, I haven't even checked. I know there's a lot of people buying and not a lot of selling, so you can maybe get 250 to 300. I never sell them because I keep them. Like I said, there's not a lot of people selling, so it's good to just hold on for when you need them. For example, if you're making tabs or house portals. Runite Bolts, they used to be 1k each. They're not even close to that anymore. I think I sold mine for like 350 to 400 yesterday. They drop pretty hard, I'm guessing, because of Skeletal Wyverns, so keep that in mind. It's still not a bad drop. If you get 25, it's a 10k drop, but they're not nearly as good as they used to be. Dragon Dart Tips are about 300 each, so that's not a particularly good drop, but if you get 14, it's like a 4k drop, so it's not awful. Dragon Arrow Tips are about 1k each. If you or somebody you know has the fletching to make dragon arrows, you can turn them into those and sell them in 318 Edge. I usually sell them for 1.2 to 1.3 because people use them for PKing. That's the Bounty Hunter world. Amulet of Power is pretty much a useless drop, except you do need it for a hard clue scroll. You need to wear this and a diamond ring in the banana plantation, which doesn't have any skill or quest requirements. So if you do hard clues, I would suggest holding on to this, because if you get that clue, it's a really easy one. They don't sell very often. I have about 60 of them banked, and I have nothing to do with them because they don't sell like very easily and for very much. So if you already have one or two, you might not even want to bother picking them up, but I just collect them, so you might want to do that too. U-Logs, 150 noted. This is pretty much one of his best drops. It's definitely his best common drop. If you sell them for 450 each, it's 66k. You can sell them for 450 each really easy. If you have a large quantity, you can usually sell them for more because people will pay extra for the convenience of you having a lot of them. So if you get like 460 or so, it's even more. So that's a really good drop. 4 sharks off street value is about a 4.5k drop, but it will usually let you get in another kill or two, which lets you get potentially 1 or 2 more drops that are hopefully better. Gold ore, 100 of them, and again noted. That's really good because they sell for about 200 plus each. People use them for training smithing. You get 56.2 experience per bar with goldsmith gauntlets from the feud, so it's actually really good experience if you have that quest and those gloves. If you plan on leveling up your smithing, I would suggest saving this because it's the way that I use for grinding smithing usually, because it's really quick and it's pretty AFKable because you can just do it in Port Phasmatis. That's pretty much all there is with that, actually. So Runite limbs, 12 to 13k. If you have either 67 or 69 fletching, you can make U crossbow limbs, make rune crossbow unstrung, string it with a crossbow string from sinew or magic roots, and make rune crossbows, which will sell for significantly more than the limbs. I think they're like 15 to 20k, depending on how desperate somebody is. So you can definitely make profit if you save these and have the levels to turn them into a rune crossbow. Adamant bars, 3 of them, they're about 2k each, but keep in mind they're not noted, so that will take up a lot of inventory that could be used for D-hide or something else that sells for more than adamant bars. But if you have a looting bag or you have the free inventory space, definitely pick those up. They're definitely worth it because they do add up if you kill KBD multiple times. Clue Scroll Elite, 1 in 450. KBD heads, 1 in 128. They are a 30k alc, or you can pay 20 GP or 20k to get them stuffed in Canifis, and then you mount them in your house with 78 construction in a skill hall. You also need some mahogany planks, I think 3 mahogany planks and 2 gold leaves, which adds up to about 250k to mount a head. It doesn't do much, and you don't get much experience. You get like 200 attack, defense, strength, range, and magic experience, and a little bit of construction. But if you have one that you can mount, I would not suggest disassembling it and remounting the other ones because it costs 250k for about 1k total experience. So I would not suggest doing that. I just have about 10 of them banked and one in my house because they look kind of cool. Prince Black Dragon, again, looks really cool. 1 in 3k drop, as you saw in the video. I do have one. I did risk it bringing it to KBD for no apparent reason, but that's okay. You can't sell it, you can't trade it. It's just a cosmetic thing, and it looks really nice. Draconic Visage, his best drop, and also his rarest drop by far. Corp made the price go down quite a bit. I think they're about 15 to 16 mil now. It might have gone back up. I haven't checked because I don't plan on getting another Visage, and I don't plan on buying one because I already have a DFS. I have gotten 3 Visages from KBD, 2 of them solo, 1 of them duo. So I have made a lot of money off Vizies, but excluding that, I've gotten about 20k per kill average. I started tracking my last 700 or so kills because that's when I stopped doing them off task and started grinding him for the pet. So I average about 20k per kill. I get about 5 kills per trip. Each trip, I don't know, takes maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. You'll probably be able to tell from the video how fast it takes to kill, or how fast I kill him with my stats. So it's about 300k per hour. It's not particularly good, but I mean that's like I said, that's without factoring into Vizies. You obviously can't price the Prince Black Dragon or the KBD heads. I have gotten 2 clues from him, and you can't price those either. So overall, I don't regret killing him because, like I said, I got really lucky with the Vizies and I got lucky with the Prince Black Dragon. He's decent money and he's kind of fun. If you do it duo, you'll get a lot more kills. Oh, there's also the rare drop table. I'm not going to go off all those items because you're not going to get any of them except maybe a couple uncut sapphires. If you have somebody else you can duo it with, I would suggest doing that because he loses a lot of ticks spinning around. His speed is 1.8 seconds, which is even faster than Half-Star Whip. But if you stand on opposite sides, he'll lose 2 or 3 ticks spinning around, which can essentially count as him missing an attack, which is really good. So if you stand on opposite sides, you can get usually if I do 5 or 6 solo, I can get like 15 to 20 duo. Past duo, I wouldn't even suggest doing 3-man because you won't get very good money for it because you'll have to split your loot 3 ways, and it's not a significant increase in how many kills you can get per trip / how fast you can do it. If you're doing with a team of rangers, which you'll sometimes see going to KBD 3 or 4 people and full D-hide at pretty low combat levels, they'll do that. But if you're doing this for money, when you're meleeing it, 2 people is the optimal number. That's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and stay tuned for some more videos. If you have any suggestions, let me know, because to be honest, I'm not sure what my next video is going to be, but I will, when I get an idea, I'll try to get it done and put it up. Thanks again for watching. Bye.